Yeah! Here we go!
Let's go, KR. Let's jump immediately. Let's move to
Let's
the
jump in.
Reddit
Yes.
segment of the day. Am I wrong for having?
Dude, come on, man. You try. Yo, what the heck?
Am I wrong for having another man's baby? I'm a 28-year-old female and have an open relationship with my 29-year-old husband. We have been married for 5 years, and the last 2 years have been
Wait a
open.
second. Wait. It's already going off the rails. 2 seconds in. How are you married and have an open? What's the point of having an open relationship when you're married?
Well,
Or the other way
maybe
around?
maybe if I read it, we'll get there. I don't know.
Okay,
Let's
let's
see.
see. Let's see.
We won't, by the way, but okay. During this time, I have had a number of health issues, mostly with my reproductive system, that I was told that I would be unlikely to conceive. She wrote convince, but okay. Last December, last December, I started to see this guy and we hit it off and saw each other regularly. The end of February, I found out I was pregnant with twins and it was his babies. P.S. I was on birth control.
Yeah, yeah, could be. It's
It
not.
took
It's
me
not
a
100%.
no. Well, I'm just saying you had problems with your reproductive system
No, the
and you were
guy
on
had
birth control.
problems probably.
No,
Anyway,
it's no. It
no,
said
no, no. I know what it says.
okay.
I know
Okay.
what it said. I know what
Okay.
you said.
Well, let me proceed. It took me
Continue.
a few weeks. It took me a few weeks to wrap my head around things, and I told my husband. At first, he was supportive and said, "I love you, and these babies are a part of you, so I will love them too." A few weeks later, he changed his mind after realizing that the father wasn't just going to walk away from the kids.
Wait a second. That's new information.
He's, he said that he would be okay with it as long as the biological father of the twins were not part of their lives.
Mm.
For background, his mother had him as a teenager, and he has had a stepdad for his entire life and has had an estranged relationship with his biological father. Although he had a stepdad, he always wanted his biological father to play a bigger role than he ever did. I don't understand how he cannot relate to the situation and expect the kids to want nothing to do with their biological father. 2 weeks ago, he planted the seed that, and I quote, "I have to get an B
The
or
delete,
else
get deletion.
a kid, yes, or else he'd never be happy," end
Oh
quote.
my god. It's gradually going down.
At 3 a.m. this morning, he left me a letter before leaving on a work trip
Oh
and
man.
said it's the babies or divorce.
Oh, you see where it goes down? It went from supportive to daddy should stay out of the baby's life to send the kids to gulag to now it's me or them. Yo,
Yeah,
this is crazy.
almost there. I feel conflicted because what if this is the only time I can have kids? It hasn't happened in years, that, it's that what if it never happens again factor that has made things so difficult for me. If he had had the same stance on things from the beginning, when I told him at 10 weeks, I would understand, she says. But the fact he waited till I am 17 weeks along to reveal how he really feels is messed up because I'm almost halfway through the pregnancy.
Well,
Does he expect,
according
does
to
he,
some people, you can remove it anyway.
with the baby's hand sticking out. Does he expect there?
Yo,
Does
this is
he
crazy, bro.
expect there to be no resentment? And and I do the procedure?
Don't do
If
it.
I do the procedure and we act like nothing happened and go on being married,
Mm.
am I wrong? What do you think, KR?
They
What would
weren't,
be your answer to this
they
lady?
weren't supposed to be together. First of all, like I said, the first 2 seconds, it went already left. How do you marry and still have an? It's
Though some
by the
people
way,
do, right?
well, it's called swinging, but that's a other thing versus open relationship, right?
Yeah.
Swinging is compartmentalized into that certain moment.
Yeah.
Swinging is you go out and sorry, open relationship is you go out and you go to KFC together. You do boyfriend and girlfriend things. By the
Mhm.
way, what are they? Another question I have to ask. So is everyone? I'm not into the open relationship stuff, but is everyone rawing? It's all raw.
If it's all what?
Raw.
Oh,
Oh,
raw.
baby, I like it raw.
I know. I
Yeah,
think so.
baby, I like it raw.
That doesn't say that.
ODB style.
Doesn't say that. Doesn't say that. No.
Because she said, well, there's only one way to get pregnant if you raw.
Yeah, and not on birth control and not
It's
having
yo,
reproductive. In any case.
messy situations up in here, bro. I'll
Mhm.
be honest. So if we don't do advice over here, but looking at the whole situation, I would say don't do it. You'll have one thing one thing you get, and sometimes if you talk to people who have done it before, sometimes they regret removing the kid or
Yeah.
the fetus, as they say.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, no,
So
continue.
looking at her reproductive, I would say disabilities or
Challenges.
restrictions,
Mhm.
right?
Challenges.
Challenges, yes. I think try to get into with the real the biological father. Try to get a relationship with him and divorce this guy. I mean,
Yeah.
and hope for the best because you gambled and I don't know if you won or lost because it's also a twin. So if it was one kid, you can. I'm not saying you can survive as a. By the
Yeah.
way, this is another problem. Who are you going to ask child support to?
Yeah.
It's
Well,
a mess.
so the thing is that marriage has lost its meaning,
Yes,
right? So marriage can mean a lot of things to a lot of
traditional
people.
meaning.
The traditional meaning, yeah, because marriage was related to family. You get married to have kids. You get married to have kids. And nowadays, people see everything loose. So marriage is something else, kids is something else. Everything is separate. But originally, you get married to have kids. So I understand your question. But and nowadays, people just get married because, hey, I feel happy with you. Let's make this commitment official. While originally it was to have kids to reproduce and to build a family.
Yeah.
Now, I think that as I read some of the comments, one of the comments said, "Your marriage is already over. There are no winners or a happy outcome for all people involved. Someone will always be unhappy. Better
Yep.
to end it sooner rather than later." I do agree with this.
Yep.
The thing is that, to your question, the one that's responsible by law is the one who has a familiar bond with the child. And the law states, a majority of places, that the if you're married, the father, the legal father who has all the responsibilities, is the one who
When
was
do you
married to the
when
mom,
when do you become the legal father?
either because you were married. So if you're married to a woman and that woman
No,
bears a
no.
child, then
Okay, so you become
That's
the
a
legal
one.
father when she bears the child, right?
Yeah.
Not before.
Well, I don't know where you're going with this. I'm afraid I do know where you're going with this. No, but no,
Let's start.
but
If you want to play technicalities, I
yeah,
can play technicalities too.
yeah. So yeah, but
No, man. No, just kidding. But continue.
so to your point, the one who would be responsible is the one she's married to,
Hmm.
and the other man would. I mean, you can always. There's always like. I mean, you would need to go to a whole process, probably proceedings, court proceedings, to maybe divorce, and then you need to prove that you're not the father, and the other man should step up because you hear some crazy stories of cases where it's no I don't think it happens often, but there are cases where you know that you're it's evident that the child is not the biological son, but hey, the legal father needs to still take care of him, right? So
It's not crazy. Go to paternity court. That's a channel there
yeah,
where you can see these stories. I watch
yeah,
it not all the time, but I used to watch it quite often.
yeah.
It's a crazy
But
story.
yeah, but I think in this case, it's clear to me that the woman doesn't really. I wouldn't say that. I don't think it's fair to say that she doesn't love him, but I
No, she
think
not.
that she's okay. She's okay losing him because the babies are on their way, and it's babies over kid over husband. So someone reacted as well by saying yes, if you want children, pick the babies. If you pick him, he is very very likely to make you rue that so regret that choice in the end. He will
Mhm.
hold it over your head or mope about it, or he will carelessly be indifferent to what you sacrifice for him. I don't see how your marriage can survive this. It's already over. It's
It's
already over, and that's what happens when you open the door. um
for messy situations.
yeah, yeah,
So if you think about it, right, it doesn't make any sense to be in Brazilian Portuguese. They call this a corno,
a corner, okay.
corno, a cuck. This is a cuck situation. How
Yeah,
would you cuck yourself into a this situation, and then you're angry at her
yeah,
because I'm pretty sure he agreed with opening up. I
yeah,
mean, maybe there aren't rules. I mean, maybe there are rules. Don't get pregnant by the dude. It
yeah,
makes sense, right?
yeah.
But maybe he didn't
I would
state
think
the
so.
rules.
Yeah,
Man, people make their lives very, very complicated these days. I mean,
yeah.
man.
And it's clear. I think for the lady, it's more. I don't think it's love as much as it's comfort. So I'm already comfortable with you. 5 years, you're probably a safe bet, and the other man, yeah, I think it's just over. But the
Yeah,
guy, some guys stay.
choose for the guy that gets you aroused, not the guy who's safe. Well, that might sound very anti-beta, but it seems like this guy is a beta. He agreed on the whole deal.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey man, let's I think we've talked about this topic enough, guys. Let us know in the reaction what you think, what your answer is. What would you advise the woman in this situation? And of course, what would you advise the man in this situation? Hey, with that being said, I think we can start with the main topic. Yes, guys, welcome to another edition of the Double Thought Show. Before you proceed, remember to subscribe if you haven't done so already. Rate the show by pressing the like button, comment, let us know your thoughts and opinions on the various topics we discuss, and share the video with your friends, your frenemies, your enemies, and of course, your family. Uh, we're gonna talk about some interesting
Or your
stories today, and
own
some.
stepkids.
Oh my God, no! Or your fetus. We are gonna talk about some interesting topics today, and close it with some very unbelievable topics. The core of the show will consist of two stories: the Ye versus Adidas.
Again.
Again, there's a brand new boycott by Ye. We talked about Ye dropping his album. We talked about Ye's. So in previous shows, we talked about Ye's Super Bowl commercial, and he posed a question when I think it was 2 years ago already, when Adidas split from him. He asked, well, I think he wasn't referring to Adidas, he was referring to the other brand. But he said, who do you think will remain? If you need to bet on either the brand or Ye, who would you bet on? And he was betting on himself. Well, he's going for it. So he's gonna talk about that one. And we're also
Yeah.
gonna talk about Fani Willis, the DA, who is
Mm.
going after the former president, who has been getting a lot of flack lately. She's been in the news lately for
Mhm.
having affairs with the lead prosecutor that she picked. Well, they not allegedly, they've been sleeping with each other. The question is when they were sleeping with each other. A lot of news, a lot of people saying a lot of things. So we're gonna discover, we're gonna explore that as well. The recent development, the latest. So I think the latest, the final arguments that both parties talked about. We're gonna talk about that, of course. As you know, we covered this story in previous shows as well. And as I said, we're gonna close the show with a couple of short and funny stories to talk about. With that being said, if you haven't done so already, remember to like the video. And I think we can start with the next topic.
Let's do this.
Let's do this, man. Kanye is back. I think we talked about it with in our show with C. Moses, Corey. It was a very good show. We talked about his comeback
Mhm.
with the Yeezy pots and his Yeezy clothing. Very successful intro to the as an independent, because right now Kanye or Ye is fully independent, RJ.
Yep.
Both on the music side, he's not on good music anymore. Technically, it wasn't his brand alone; it was a
Mhm.
joint venture. But he dropped the Vultures album as independent, and he's dropping clothing and the pots as an independent creator. So it wasn't to anyone's surprise, because everyone knew that the breakup with Adidas resulted in a enormous amount of stock. And basically Adidas announced that already in 2022, when it all went down, that they would start selling. Well, it took a while, but they were going to sell all the stock. And we're now at 2024, and it's the last bit of stock they're trying to sell off. And they announced that they were going to drop the Yeezy. I don't know what it's called. The Yeezy Stale Gray or whatever. This is the. Well, wait a second. Wait a second. This is it, right? To give you a better view, this is it. This is it.
Yeah,
How do
yeah.
you think about it? Well, anyway.
Hey, KR, we shouldn't be promoting brands for free, man.
Well, we shouldn't. She shouldn't. We shouldn't. It's a fake Yeezy, according to Ye himself. But don't get me wrong. For the Ye fans, just know I paid my collection dues. My tithes have been paid to the Yeezy brand before. Well, the independent Yeezy brand. So don't try to tell me I bought some fake Yeezy. I did, but So this is my explanation. They announced this. They dropped this shoe already a year ago, like the pictures.
Yeah.
I was like, I like the color. I was like, if it ever drops, I'm gonna cop it.
Hmm.
And then all of a sudden, this guy comes out and says it's fake Yeezys. You know who I am, RJ. You know who I am.
I do.
Do you think that Kanye telling me I shouldn't buy it, that would sway me to change my mind?
No, probably motivated you to buy it even more.
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Well, it's not going good for equal. Maybe it did. Maybe it did.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, it's this is what Kanye had to say about the fake Yeezys. And I do agree with him, but there are some things that are more important than his, his opinion on some stuff.
Really clear to you guys what's happening with Adidas. Is not only are they putting out fake colorways that are non-approved, they're suing me for $250 million, and they're also not paying me for these shoes that they're putting out that have my name on it. And they're using contract clauses and 50 years of business experience to rape an artist, one of y'all favorite artists, right in front of y'all in broad daylight.
Okay, let's stop it there because that's also yeah, that was a bit late. That was a little bit late. What we
Wait,
play?
I thought I had a. Let me see.
Yes, yeah.
I thought I had a but. Ah, man,
Well, that's a
I don't. We should get a bleep.
yeah.
Anyway,
There was a bleep. Well, anyway,
I have it somewhere.
yeah, you have it somewhere. So yeah, so we are, right. It's fake Yeezys. He calls them corny, and I understand his situation because these were created after they broke up. They was well, I mean, probably they were already in the production because it says they were produced in November 2022,
Hmm.
and this whole fallout happened in October, or yeah, October, around about October. So I understand it was basically in that time frame. I don't know how fast they can start up production, or maybe they started creating it before or right around the time they broke up. But the funny thing that happened is that people started listening. And
Hmm.
let me zoom in a little bit. Even Snoop Dogg responded to that video with "Speak your truth." Speak your truth. And then what happened? Guess what? The Yeezys 350s, the fake Yeezys are sitting on the app, and only stupid people like me bought it. Yeah, I call myself stupid.
Yeah.
Who cares? Who cares? It doesn't hurt. Let me tell you this: it doesn't hurt when you have some. When you have. I'm not gonna go there. So, RJ,
Yeah.
what do you think about this situation?
I think, as I said before, that Yeezy is someone who is not. He doesn't give up, and his track record is that of being an underdog.
Yep.
He's been an underdog his whole life. He got into the music industry being an underdog. He got into the fashion industry being an underdog. Everything, every time, and the funny thing is that every time he becomes, he's not an underdog anymore. Let's call him an yeah. I don't know if you say upper dog, but whatever. It sounds like a yoga pose. But in any case, in
Don't
any
don't,
case.
don't mention Upper Dog next to Diddy.
No, but every time that he every time that he's not an underdog anymore, that people say, okay, you're accepted, we accept you the way you are, he changes. And so that's the way he is. But what his track record always shows is that you shouldn't underestimate him, because he always finds a way to get on top. And yeah, that's to say that I'm surprised. I am not surprised. Um, but to say that I saw it coming, that would be a lie as well.
What?
Because
What that you didn't see coming? The boycott or
yeah,
the
the boycott I did, but the effect that
Hmm.
his message would have, let's
Yep.
say, I didn't see that that coming, because it's one thing to say, hey, you shouldn't underestimate him, just like Brady, right? Just like Patrick Mahomes, hey, you shouldn't underestimate him. But to actually win the Super Bowl is another thing. And yeah, he's been boycotted from a lot of activities, from a lot of opportunities.
Yep.
Uh, but it seems as though the tide is slowly but surely turning, starting
The Moses of the fashion industry.
starting at the Super Bowl. He's been gaining a bit of momentum.
Yep.
And the scary thing, let me say, the scary thing about um the scary thing about him now is that he's independent, and he doesn't need to, and we haven't seen this kind of Kanye before. If he was the way he was when he was in
Contract with big.
deals with other people and companies, how will he be without him? And that's a pretty interesting thought.
And
A bit scary as well.
in addition, uncancelable, obviously.
Well, if yeah, I
Because
mean, you'll get the Elon Musk. You'll get like he's going in that route, right? The Elon Musk route, where you can say a lot of things. You can say a lot of things about him in the newspaper and so on and so forth. But if he can get his own platform and get a footing in society where where he's really not dependent on anybody, it's a pretty scary thought of what he can do.
you know what's crazy? This was only the first shoe they dropped. I think, I'll be honest, I think this was a heat check.
Mm-hmm.
Usually they drop the shoes back to back to back, or they
Mm-hmm.
drop multiple ones. But
Mm-hmm.
what if they drop multiple ones and he says boycott and all your shoes are, because they sold them at retail price.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that the CEO said, which was remarkable, and everyone when this dropped, they said what he said didn't make sense. During the previous call, so you have at every quarter there is a call with your stockholders, so people that own the stock of the company.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and he said during that call that they will probably might, they're not sure, they might have to sell the Yeezy stock at cost. So maybe they did see this coming.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And this was just a heat check to see whether if people will accept it or not.
Or
And
not.
seems like they don't.
Well, you always want the new things as well, right? And they were called Yeezys. So if the person whose name it's named after is dropping a new shoe,
For
then
20.
by definition, your shoe is now old and irrelevant.
Yep.
So that also plays a role.
Yep. I mean, at this point, I think I'm 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 I want to see what Adidas does next. To be honest, this is probably my last Yeezy shoe I'll ever buy. I really wanted this one when I saw it last year when they dropped the pictures. I was like, oh, I really need this one. The color, I like the color, bright, bright gray. And I don't think I'm gonna buy anything else.
Yeah.
I'm gonna listen to Ye after this one. Hey, but one thing that's remarkable, and we can talk about the Ye contract is
Mm.
that is that first of all they break up the contract. They can still sell the shoe designs. These are not, according to Ye, these are not approved colorways. This is not an approved colorway. So I do think, and the CEO said it as well, they are the owners of the design, even though they signed a manufacturing and distribution deal with Yeezy. So there is probably a clause in there, just like there is a clause that said the following, which is even crazier. That this is an article from last year, but somehow because of these contract disputes happened this week, this was brought back into light. Ye's contract with Adidas prevented him from getting long-term mental health treatment.
Prevent it,
Prevent, yeah, prevent.
but in what sense?
In what sense? So basically, what it says is the following. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Um, this is what the article says. But another termination clause Adidas added was not typical. 30 consecutive days of mental health or substance abuse treatment. In other words, if Ye spent a month receiving care for significant aspects of his health and well being, he could be forced to give up his significant piece of what was then the greatest shoe empire in the modern era. He could literally lose billions. So the clause,
Not prevented, but prohibited in a sense.
prohibited. Yeah, this was the. I mean, this
Yeah,
was.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So the title said prevented, but if
Yeah,
you say prevent, it's like maybe you can interpret it in various ways, right? So
yeah.
if I say you prevented me from getting lunch, well, did you really? Did you really?
Definitely, definitely.
It can be because we're working so long, but in this case, it sounds more like it was like a prohibition. Yeah, he was prohibited from
Yeah.
doing so.
There are when they signed a deal in 2013, they gave him 15% of the royalties of Yeezy sales. But when they renegotiated the extension, Adidas added a couple of moral clauses that could terminate the contract based on specific behaviors, felony convictions, bankruptcy, or anything that brings disrepute, contempt, scandal to him, or tarnishes Adidas. So they added that in the extension.
Mm. It's a bit weird. The way I read it is the way I envisioned that the conversation went was okay. We're very close to reaching a deal. There's just one thing. In order for this shoe to really pop off, we need you to be crazy. We need you to remain crazy and unbalanced. That's the way I read it.
It's a funny clause. It's a very
Very
funny clause.
yeah.
Because if you don't get treatment, you might turn and do weird things. And that would result in you losing the deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, at the end, it seems like well, not everyone, it seems like Adidas is really losing right now because, first of all, their revenue dropped the last year significantly compared to
Mm-hmm.
other people.
Mm-hmm.
other brands in the same industry, and now they are selling off the last ones, and they can't even sell those off. They might
Mm-mm.
have to ship them to. No, I'm gonna say they might ship them to another country or a continent. That's all I'll say. For cheap. It's ain't looking bad. It's looking bad, but at the end of the day, this is a very funny contract, and this is
Mhm.
at the end of the day, you can say that maybe and the lawyers, maybe Kanye and his lawyers brought this on themselves by accepting this deal. Because at the end of the day, I don't know. Maybe it's
The
personal.
thing is, you know what the thing is, KR?
Oh.
When you're drafting a contract, so I didn't see the full contract. So that's a full disclaimer. I didn't see the full contract. But the thing about this is that a contract, a lot of people think that you need a contract so you can go into business with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the real reason why you need a contract is to know what to do in case things go south. So in
Mm.
this contract, you have like a bunch of clauses, and you might not always, when you're entering a deal, you don't always know which clauses might be applicable in a particular dispute. So you might look at a clause and you might think, oh, there's no harm here.
Mm-hmm.
But because probably in the negotiations they said no, you know what, we need this because we need to be sure that you're not you won't be longer than a month away from the project. We need you to be involved with the project.
Right, you can sell it that way as well. That's true.
No, so you can always turn it both ways. Um, so I think that might be a reason, might be an argument that they will use, or they might have used when explaining the reasoning behind the contract. But when things pop off, you would need to go look at the respective clauses, and then it becomes a question of interpretation. Was it interpreted that, so how was it formulated, and what was the meaning, the reason for having that clause in there? And yeah, that becomes a contractual dispute. So it's a weird clause, but at the end of the, but at the on the other hand, there's, yeah, in law, I was talking to a client of mine like 2 weeks ago, and the client said, look at the clause. The clause clearly states this. And I said, yeah, but the other lawyer will probably say that. And he's like, no, but it's written like this. I'm like, yeah, but you can,
Ambiguous.
if
That's
you
why
want
they
to.
pay lawyers to write ambiguously.
Well, sometimes you need to write them big more. Well, sometimes you need to leave room open for interpretation, and sometimes you shouldn't. So it's an art to know what you will draft which, because sometimes, KR, you want to leave the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
space
I understand. I understand.
open, so if there's a dispute, you either go to court or you force parties to, try to negotiate. So that's the art of it, and some people think it's just chat gpt. So well, I hope Ye didn't chat gpt his current it's not
Deal.
chat gpt his current deals, but who knows. uh,
Hey, but
uh, yeah.
hey, at the end of the day, let's see how it ends for Adidas, man. It might end very bad now with this boycott. It might end very bad. Let's talk about Fanny, man. Fanny
Hey
and
buddy.
Nathan Wade versus Trump and Co.
Mhm.
They invited this lawyer, Nathan Wade's former friend, business partner, and snitch. No, I'm just kidding. Terrence Bradley to the stage last week to describe what really happened, what he put in text messages. I think we talked about this off air, but I don't know why Terrence thought it was a good idea to start sending text messages to explain what the dealings were between Fanny and Nathan, and not expect to have to sit in court and explain what he sent to the lawyer. This is a weird situation. And what happened is basically, like the title says, the caption, his credibility went up in flames. I've never seen someone get burned like he did. Because the funny thing is, the defense burned him and the DA office burned him. I've never seen that. Everyone was trying to destroy him. RJ.
Yeah, I the thing with him was that he involved himself in the problem.
Yeah.
So the problem wasn't there. Text messages that leaked show that he, if not approached Trump's team, then he at least played a big part in their motion against Fani.
Yeah.
And I think what happened was that he gave all the information to the lawyers in order to get back at Wade
Mm-hmm.
for things that happened in the past. And he said no, they had relations in Fanny's back office, and Fanny did this, and I know this, and I know that.
They had relations back in the day when
Back
they
in the
were
day,
both judges.
prior to
Judges.
Fanny selecting Wade, Nathan Wade, as her special prosecutor. And all this information were at one point brought forward to Fanny and Nathan. So they were confronted with the information. And this lawyer friend, some kind of friend he is. So when we say share it with your enemies, we're talking about him. Show him, KaiR.
Guys
When
like
we say show the pictures, just so people know. When we say share it with your enemies, we're talking about guys guys like him. Share the video with your enemies. Yes? Come on, man. That was the close up.
look at his face. He's like, God,
We don't
God,
know if he's
please get me
sweating or
out of here.
crying. It's one of the two.
I know what he was doing. Should I tell you what he was doing?
What was
He
he
was
doing?
sweating grease.
Yeah. So the the what he did next. So he was called to the stand. He gave his he gave his
Yeah.
he was called into the stand as a witness, and they were starting to question him, and you could see him sweating because I think that he didn't expect it to go that far. He thought that he would just help Trump's team prepare the case against Fani and then let
Pu-
it go.
push him and point them to the right door.
Yeah,
There is it.
yeah.
There's where they are sitting. Go to
And
that
they,
door. You'll find them.
yeah, and Trump's team was like, oh no,
Oh, you're
what did
gonna
you
stay
think?
with us.
Did you think we'll just go? No, you can't give us the information and tell us go, come with us.
No, no, come. You're gonna open the door and walk in
Yeah,
first.
yeah.
It looked
So
crazy.
on that day when he was being questioned, KR, it was clear that he was trying to think about the answer. He was really trying to think what to answer,
Yeah.
and he was trying to not dig a bigger hole because he's already being questioned. He's probably being he's already being accused of being of acting in an
Was that fun?
unethical way
Was that
because he
fun
was
intended?
also what? No, I didn't. What was pun intended?
You said
Varying
it's trying to dig a bigger hole
a bigger hole. Yeah.
so you
I
can
don't get.
get in it.
No, that wasn't. No, that wasn't it.
Okay, okay, continue,
So he
continue.
was trying to. It was clear to me that he was trying to answer the questions in a way that you would still conserve some kind of future. Because right now his career as a lawyer is probably
Uh,
done.
it's done,
It's
dude.
probably done because he not only he not only talked about things that he probably shouldn't have talked about due to the attorney-client privilege that he had with Nathan Wade as well, who was his friend, but he was also so uh he was also Nathan Wade's lawyer. So he was also he was talking certain things that he shouldn't have been talking in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
But
And it,
additionally, now he's went up there and started lying, and his future as a lawyer is done. Is it's over. So I think that he thought that he could still save it. That's why he was sweating and crying. But there's no saving. He's really done for. So after that, they held the. You saw it Friday, right? You saw the Friday
the closing, yeah, yeah.
closing
I watched
arguments.
the closing argument. Let's go to that. The closing argument was a funny situation as well, right? You had the closing by Donald Trump's lawyer, and to be honest, I'll be honest. I gotta give props to the lead attorney because I don't watch the straight clean version. I watch lead attorney when it comes to this stuff because
So the YouTuber lead attorney, the
yes,
lead
the
attorney. Yeah.
YouTuber, go check him out. 6 hours. He was streaming for 6 hours on Friday. Great show. And we can take a look at a couple of funny situations because during that closing argument from the DA office or the prosecutor's office, it looked to me, it looked a bit shaky. It could be on purpose, it could be flexing. I'm gonna send my rookie pitcher to strike you out. So you know we got heat over here and you don't have any case. Or it could be I'm crashing out the party now. Leave it how it is. But
Mhm.
the lawyer on Trump's side started off the um because there are multiple lawyers there. It's not only Trump, it's Trump with co-conspirators. So and by the way, if you go back to the lawyer friend and snitch, Bradley,
Mhm.
he was taking a beating during that when they were asking him questions because every lawyer had to take 2 minutes. It seems like I'm not gonna say the word, but it's like a group and people everyone takes turn and to beat someone up. It looked
Mhm.
crazy. And
Mhm.
so that means that in the closing argument, also a couple of lawyers had their say. And then they had to send the attorney for the DA office or the prosecutor, whatever you want to call it. They sent this guy. I don't know how long he's been doing this, but you could clearly see that he was a bit nervous about the whole situation. Fanny was sitting there, Nathan Wade was sitting there behind him, and he was trying to cook. Just imagine trying to do your work in the office while your boss or your manager is peeking over your shoulders. So I have to give him. He looks very weak, but I have to also give him a bit of props. Like I mean, it's a bad situation. You're holding the future of both your boss and actually technically also America in your hands if this fails.
Mhm.
Um, but this is what happened during that. closing argument.
It can't just
He
be
was talking, trying to make a point, and like I said, fair use.
theoretical, speculative, or assumptions that would lead to the appearance of impropriety, the appearance of a conflict that would lead to.
Fanny helping his ass out.
I guess what's that?
Fanny went up there and gave that boy a goddamn poster. Did y'all see
That's
that?
the worst. When you get given post-its, that means you are not doing a good job and your people are trying to help you.
Dude, I bet that poster says, nigga, you fired. You fired.
Borrowing kind of from
Watch Fanny go up there and give him the goddamn poster. I would pay $100
The
for that
appearance
poster.
of impropriety, the appearance of a conflict that would lead to.
I mean, I guess
Just that.
I'm borrowing kind of from, as we've been doing the other pretrial motion, special demurrers seem to get.
Are they right, RJ? Does it mean when you think you're cooking and your boss comes from behind? Pause. Your boss comes and hands you a post-it, not from behind anyone.
Not necessarily, right? Because it could also be that as you're talking, he thought of an idea or he thought of a different angle and he's writing on it. He's thought, you know what, I might give you this just in case you didn't
You missed.
think about it, or yeah. So it's not necessarily because you're failing, although in that context the guy's
He was drowning.
voice was shaking as he was talking. So it could be that Fanny thought, you know what, let me take over because Jesus ain't taking over this wheel. I might have to. And yeah, but it's not necessarily, if you ask me, I don't think it's necessarily that he was doing something wrong.
Okay. But what if it happens twice?
Well, he did talk a lot, right? He did talk
Look
for a
at
long.
her face when she goes to sit down. Look at her face.
Let me go back a little bit.
Been indicted or accused of.
You're dead after this.
Did you see her face?
Look at her
She did
face.
not look
guys. Look at
happy.
her face. Look at her face when she goes to sit down. Look at her face. You're dead. Look at that face, boy. Hell no.
Oh man.
Look at his face. He's like, oh, he took that big gulp. He took that big gulp. He's like, fuck, man, I'm dead. Dead man walking. Somebody write dead man walking.
Yeah. This is why you watch TLA when these cases come up, man.
Yeah. So again, that's also interpretation, right? But shout out to the lead attorney once more because he is a very great content creator. The way he breaks down dry legal topics is and makes it makes it entertaining to watch. That's definitely he definitely has a gift for that. But yeah, I mean, that's an interpretation. But again, I can understand that I can understand why you would interpret the situation like that because the guy was clearly shaking as he was standing up there. So
Yeah, it wasn't a good look. And I don't understand why they sent him up because I'm pretty sure you know the skills of your team. You cannot send a starting pitcher or a relieving pitcher to close out your game for you.
well, KR, one thing that we know by now
Oh, he's
Is that-
gonna go there. He's
is
gonna
that-
go there. Oh
is
my
that,
God.
is that Fani might be a great prosecutor, a great DA, a shark,
Mm.
but he's very bad in hiring people. So I think we shouldn't be surprised. Let me put it like that. But you know what else plays a role, KR? Sometimes it's the fear from the other side. but I think in this particular lawyer's situation, it's probably fear for Fani, because Fani Willis is a she has a very dominant personality.
Just shock. Look at that. Like
She
a
sat there in the courtroom, basically took over the courtroom, took over the judge. The judge was there, but you could clearly see that she has a very big presence.
Mhm.
And you know, he was probably shaking. He was probably more afraid of Fani than he was of the case itself. That's what I think.
Yeah. It is. It is what it is. Let's see. The the judge said it will probably take up to 2 weeks for him to decide, and we'll see what happens. I mean, is it going to be? Oh, by the way, one thing that was almost forgot about saying. I almost forgot about saying this. This is not the first case she would get thrown out of
Yeah, is that so?
relating to Trump. Yeah, there was another case. This is even crazier. I don't know what went through her mind, but there was either it was a judge. I think it was a judge in the neighborhood of ATL. She indicted him, trying to get charges on him for his affiliation or something like that
With Trump.
with Trump. Yeah, something with the whole Trump thing.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened was, at the same time, she decided to do a fundraiser with his ops. The other judge that he was running against, she did a fundraiser with him.
Yeah.
This went to court, and guess what? She got thrown off the case.
Of course. But that's what I find weird. I don't think it should be like that. I don't think a DA's office should be an elected office. Now I understand that in the US it's different, right? They do have those elected positions,
Yep.
but it should be that the DA is as independent as possible. Now that being said, I do think that because the US is so the US is a country that's so um how do you call it, two-sided. You're either left or right, either Republican or Democrat. So they have to do it because the last thing is you want is maybe a Republican or a Democrat holding office for 20-30 years, for example. So but still, as a DA, I don't think it should be a public office, because then they are going to use their power for political motives, and that shouldn't be done. And I think it's obvious, if you're in the first case you're telling me you just talked about, I think it's obvious that she does it, or that she did it in the past at least.
Yeah, this is the headline of that story is Georgia prosecutor Fani Willis disqualified from investigating fake elector in criminal probe. That was the main article for that one. It was crazy, actually. That I didn't know that up until yesterday. So
Okay.
this is not the first time, and I think this shows you that I don't know what she thinks, but for you to do that, it seems like you don't have. You're moving a bit reckless, in my opinion, because you know that if you try to lock up someone and you turn around and try to fundraise for the person's direct opponent for the same position, it will turn into a disqualification. It's not. I'm not even in the legal sphere I don't work in the legal sphere, and I know that
Mhm.
logically. So as a DA, you should know that as well.
Yeah, but I have this feeling that this happens a lot, so it's very common. So people expect it. It's weird if you don't play the game. I don't think you would even. I think before people start endorsing you, that's probably part of the conversation. Hey, endorsing you, I mean, getting elected means that we require this from you. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what you
It
get
is.
by by making a public office political. Now, I understand that certain office has to be elected offices, but
Mhm.
I'm not saying that it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that this is the consequences of having a
This type
system like
of
this. Yeah.
system. Hey, let's do. We always do here. These last few shows, we run into a couple of interesting stories real quick, and we give our opinion about it. Let's start with Brooklyn's Bling Bling Bishop denies stealing during fraud trial. So according to, and I don't know if you've seen that video, by the way, like a year ago, there was this bishop who was preaching in his church, and the savages ran up on him and stole like 1 million worth of jewelry. I don't know if you remember that one.
Mm, no.
This is this bishop, and apparently, and he did even crazier things. So the case, the fraud case he's being prosecuted for, goes as follows. There was this woman who's part of his congregation, and she was trying to search for a new home. And what he did was he told her, "Give me 90K and I'll help you find that home. I'll make sure you're good." What do you think he did after that?
Didn't find it for him.
Let me give you an idea. So let me
Hmm.
see if I can find the picture real quick. This is the guy.
Is that the bishop?
That's the bishop. Bishop Bling Bling. What do you
Oh,
think?
is
What do
that
you
Bishop Don Juan?
Well, he was pimping the people in his congregation, but okay. Um, allegedly. Let me put that behind that real quick. But according to the prosecutor, he turned around and bought himself with that 90K brand new Louis Vuitton bags
Okay.
and a BMW.
Okay.
And the woman who emptied her retirement funds
Oh no.
was sitting there with nothing.
Wow. But these things are the reason why people don't believe in the church anymore. And then what happens is that they say, okay, then some people say, I don't believe in God either. But that's a whole nother conversation. I know that's the conversation you like to have, but
Who?
you,
No,
but
no.
no,
No.
but this is the reason why.
Yeah.
And whether you believe or not is not the issue right here. The issue is that as a person, as a bishop, someone is entrusting you, or they're trusting you with their money. They're basically being vulnerable, right? I'm giving you. Oh, that doesn't look like a God's man for sure, for sure. I mean, if I see this guy walking, I would, the first thought that came to mind, scammer. It's
Bruh. If let me tell you this. If your preacher is walking around in Fendi suits, because this is a Fendi suit. I know a Fendi suit when I see it.
Mhm.
Just make sure that the tithe, the 10% tithe you're giving, ends up in your own pocket and not in his. Because anyway, let me stop right there. Let me stop.
Yeah. No, it's a shame. It's a
It's a
real shame,
shame.
especially for the lady, for the yeah.
Miss, this is people trust you with certain things, right? As a preacher, bishop, or you want to call it. And it's extremely unethical when you turn around when someone gives you 90K. You have to be the lowest of the low to do what he did, what he's accused of. Let me put it that way. You gotta be very low
Mm.
to know that that person emptied out her retirement funds, gave you that 90K, and you turn around and spend it on a car and a bag. Yo, dude, come on, man. And you know what's crazy about this? There are people, I'm pretty sure the way I'm seeing this dude, the way he's moving, he got robbed for 1 million in jewelry. Who the heck wears 1 million worth of jewelry in a church while preaching? By the way, that what happened, people were saying it probably was an inside deal, a scam for him. Well, that was the rumors. Allegedly, they caught the guy, so it wasn't an inside thing. But this is very bad, dude. I don't like people like this, to be honest.
Yeah. What you can say is, or at least what Shannon Sharp would say is, you must be a very sorry mofo to steal
Yes, yes, you must be
from the underserved. You
low life.
stole money from people that really needed that money. Shame
You're a
on
low
you.
life. You're a low life,
You're a
and
low
people
life.
and I'll be honest. Um, people like this. This is the. I'm not gonna say the problem, but I think the black community should be more. They should throw these type of people more often in front of the school bus. Not literally. Throw them under the bus of the legal system, because this is the more people you let do this, the more people think that this is the way they should enrich themselves and not work
Mhm.
hard, because that lady worked hard to get to that 90K, and then you turn around and spend it yo, this is crazy. He spends it on luxury items and leaves her without a
Yeah.
home.
Yeah, so that means that he had zero. He didn't take 10 and use the other 80. He had zero empathy for the lady. You really must be a very sorry person to do something like that. A low life.
A
It's a
low
shame.
life. Low life. Hey, let's close it out with another guy. We know him all. We know him all, man. We know him all, man. We know him as the main man. He always talks with
Mhm,
man in the movies.
mhm. Okay.
The man has to pay 1 million in back taxes, or else he'll end up like Wesley Snipes in the Bing. We all know him as TJ. Or is it TJ?
Whoop that trick. Get it.
Whoop,
Whoop that.
well,
Get it.
if he doesn't pay, guess who's getting whoopings?
Guess who's gotta be tricking?
Oh, Jesus. Jesus. Oh man.
Yeah.
So Terrence Howard. Terrence Howard was ordered by a Philadelphia judge to pay nearly 1 million in back taxes and penalties after say he said it's immoral for the US government to charge taxes to descendants of slaves.
That was his defense after the fact, just to be clear. That wasn't a motion to pass a bill, KR. KR, that wasn't a motion to pass a bill.
Let, let
That
me,
was his defense.
let me tell you this. When I read this the very first time, I really thought this was him trying to preach to get
Reparations.
pass.
Yeah, exactly.
Then I read it again. I was like, oh shit, this was his defense.
That was his defense. That's crazy, man.
Oh man.
You know, that's what we call a Hail Mary, man. That's what we
This
call a
is
Hail Mary.
amazing.
No, it's a shame. It's unfortunate that to see him like this, but him and Taraji P. Henson, you know, she's also been in the news, literally crying because of what she's got paid. It just goes to show you, KR, that's not always as everything is not always as it seems.
Yep.
From the outside looking in, everything might blink. It might blink, but that doesn't mean that it's gold.
Yep.
It might shine, but that doesn't mean that it's gold.
Yep.
And everyone, that's what I always say to people, stop comparing yourself to people because everyone has their struggles. So I really hope for him that he can
And he can pay it. Let's hope he has
pray
some-
to the ancestors.
yo, he might have to go you might have
because
to
as long as you're living in the United States, you need to abide by the laws of the jurisdictions. And if the laws say you need to pay the taxes, then the only arguments you can use are arguments provided by the law in the country in which you're residing, not some Black Lives Matter, slogan or no. You need to.
Hey, looking
Nah,
good.
but nah, man. Hey, but I think I don't have anything more to say. So with that being said, guys, thank you for tuning in to today's show. Let us know what your thoughts are. Remember to comment on the comment. Let us know what your thoughts are about the topics we discussed today. If you have other topics that you would like us to discuss in the future, please let us know. If you have some crazy Reddit stories, please let us know as well. It's been a pleasure to serve you once more. Of course, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already. Share the video with your friends, your families, and your enemies. And like the video so YouTube pushes it so that more people can watch it. We'll see each other in the next one. And until next time, peace.
You know it's hot out here for a
Or pimp.
oh man, Darius, what are you doing, bro?